This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
I'm not getting any answers, and that's what I want. I want answers.
Tonight, a grieving Lubbock family says death certificate delays have created additional hardships. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
After a Lubbock family suddenly lost a loved one, they had to wait months to learn what caused her death. And that's because the autopsy and toxicology reports were still pending months after their loved one was cremated.
KCBD investigative reporter Shaylee Sanders looked into death certificate delays and joins us with what she learned. Shaylee?
Karen and Abner, the Lubbock County Medical Examiner's Office does not have a forensic pathologist. Instead, autopsies and other services are performed in another county and sometimes in another state. Lubbock County officials tell me because of the current process, some delays are out of their hands. Unlikely roommates.
What's it like having your granddaughter in the house with you?
Well, I have to admit it's certainly different from what I was used to.
Lee Blaylock says his only grandchild, Shelby, moved into his house in August.
We struck a bond many years ago.
It's a move neither of them anticipated.
I am so grateful to have him.
But life has thrown curveballs at the Blaylocks.
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have any other family.
Shelby says her mom, Katie, died unexpectedly in August after a fall.
And she fractured her arm. She ended up going to the hospital. We both arrived soon after. They were doing x-rays and everything like that.
Lee says Katie had broken bones in the past, so he wasn't too concerned.
Even looking at Katie when she was in the ER, she seemed to be doing very well. She was alert and very responsive to everything that was going on.
Shelby says her mother was discharged that evening.
We went home, she went to sleep, and then she never woke up.
Lee says when he got the call that Katie had stopped breathing, he rushed over to their home, where an officer confirmed Katie was gone.
I immediately tried to find where Shelby was, and she was sitting on the driveway in tears and really emotionally distraught. And my purpose then was to comfort her. And try to make some sense out of what was going on.
Heartbreak after heartbreak. Just 3 months earlier, a heart attack took his eldest daughter, Kelly.
It's a little bit more than anybody should have to bear. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of either one of my kids.
Lee says the medical examiner's office told them it would likely take about 3 months to get Katie's death certificate.
I just want to know what happened to my mom. You know, she was my best friend, and it was so sudden.
3 months passed, and they still didn't have answers.
I called again, and they said it's going to be 4 to 9 months before I find out anything. And then she goes and she tells me that there's people that have been waiting for a year. People shouldn't be waiting this long.
It's a delay we asked Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish about.
It's really not anybody's fault. It's kind of the fault of the system.
Parrish says that currently, the medical examiner's office does not have a forensic pathologist, so autopsies are handled at the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office. And while that office does conduct some testing in-house, Parrish says some samples are sent out of state.
When a tissue sample or a blood sample needs to have laboratory services, they also send that out to a third party. When COVID hit in March of 2020, it hit that industry pretty hard. They lost a lot of their workers, and their backlog has been tremendous in getting lab results back.
Lubbock County Medical Examiner Dr. Charles Addington says the turnaround time is improving, but he understands families' concerns.
Am I always happy with the time frame of every case? No, ma'am, I'm not. They hold the key. They're in charge until they give us the body and then give us the cause and manner. And sometimes it takes longer.
Addington says before COVID, Tarrant County handled several counties' autopsies, but that's now been reduced to Lubbock, Denton, Parker, and Johnson counties. And he says Lubbock can only send 5 bodies at a time for autopsies. The Blaylocks tell us even after Katie's cremation, they still didn't know what caused her death because the paperwork was pending. And without a final death certificate, they couldn't make financial decisions. Parrish says Lubbock County commissioners do plan to hire a forensic pathologist eventually.
I would certainly say within the next 2 years. We will be recruiting, and we will be recruiting hard, but I do know that that will come with a cost. Those doctors are becoming more and more rare.
The Blaylocks hope that whatever the county decides, it creates a more expeditious timeline so families don't have to wait. Shelby says she is so thankful she's not going through this alone.
He's so strong. My mom's best friend likes to call him Superman. And he's as sturdy as an oak, she says. And I don't know what I would do without him.
I do have an update tonight. The Blaylocks tell me after we conducted the interviews for the story, they did receive a copy of Katie's death certificate. They are now working through that information. Lubbock County officials tell me not only do they plan on hiring a new forensic pathologist, but they also hope to build a new facility. And while that means autopsies will be performed here locally, Judge Parrish says they would still send samples to third-party labs as a cost-effective measure. We will update you when the county is further along in the planning process. Karen Namner,